Hey Gillian, welcome.
Hi, Arjuna.
I'm
Thank
really
you for
glad that
having
you could
me.
take this time. Hmm.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, well, you've been so helpful, in the research for this book, and particularly, I find it incredibly helpful to talk to a woman about feminine practice. It's they're it's a different thing. So it's you've been really helpful in and bringing some refined awareness to these different kinds of feminine Taoist practice. I think that's what we're going to focus our conversation on today.
Thank you. You're very welcome. I'd love to do that. It's one of my
Yeah,
favorite topics.
yeah, brilliant. Well, I think let's start before we. I mean, there are specific practices we can talk about, like breast massage, nine flowers, ovarian breathing, orgasmic upward draw, jade egg. There are all these techniques. Before we get into the actual, how to, I'd love to take a minute to just briefly think about what is feminine practice. There are practices that we do together. There are when we do warm-ups, we do breathing, we do iron shirt. There are things that everybody does. And then there are some practices that women do, that people who have breasts and ovaries and vaginas do, that men don't do. So if we just look at it like that, what would you say would be like, what's the essence of feminine practice that makes it different from practices for men?
I would say the essence of feminine practice is uh, connected to the fact that women are yin and they have their sexual organs on the inside, and our sexual organs have a tendency to be um, cool or cold and stagnant, that are very affected by our emotions. And women, as many know, are perhaps more emotional than men in some respects. Um, but in modern life, we need to hold our emotions to get through everything that we need to do. And this causes a lot of blockages in the flow of blood and in the flow of chi. And it's the flow of blood that governs our female cycle. So it's really important to harmonize and balance the flow of blood, that it can flow freely and circulate well. That's number one. To reduce stagnation, to harmonize the hormones that govern our cycle, our female cycles, whichever phase of life we're in, and substantially also get to know and connect to our sexual organs because they're inside our body, whereas men have them outside, and it's very easy for men to connect to their penis and their testicles, whereas for women we lack that understanding, and that connection and being able to breathe and circulate the energy and enjoy that part of our body that is sexual, has vitality, has holds creativity. So this is very much so what female practices are about: getting to know ourselves, um, the hidden parts of ourselves, coming to respect ourselves, and in doing that, we open a lot of joy, a lot of sexual um, possibilities, so that the energy and the sexuality can open and flow.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, let's. I'd love to just kind of pull over to the side of the road for a minute and loop back to something you said, which I think is really good to have a deeper understanding of because you talked about women are yin, right?
Mm, mm,
And I would love to get your perspective because we're in such a time of transition now in understanding differences in undeniable differences in biology. I mean, I don't think anyone could argue that. I think it's like 1,999 people are biologically unambiguous in gender. So either breasts, ovaries, vagina, capable of having babies, or penis, no breasts, facial hair. So it's that there is 1 in 2,000 people who are born actually biologically ambiguous,
Mhm.
but I'm not sure if that's the correct term. But then, so there's the biological clarity, but then there's like, we can talk about yin and yang, masculine and feminine energy. And this is where there's a lot of debate, about how much of that is social conditioning and
Mm,
how much of it is inevitable based on not just the shape of the body, but the different hormones that are running.
mm,
And so, it's a pretty nuanced conversation.
mhm.
And so, yeah, I'd just love to get your take on that. Like, would you say when we talk about yin and yang energy, people often will like translate that into masculine, feminine. Do you think do you feel that's not okay? Let's
Let's
talk a bit about
say
that.
it's more like traits or tendencies towards. We can
Mm.
also have a yin man, yeah, because
Oh,
everything is relative, right? And we can also have masculine woman. But the tendency of how your emotions and your body and your energy runs deeply into your body, which you have your reproductive organs that are created to hold life inside you, makes you yin, protective and internal. And a lot of the ways that you move through life and um, translate life is in a yin way, is a very interior way, because that's how you create your reality and life inside your body. Whereas a man creates his outside the body, he has to
mm.
give, he has to release, he has to provide to create life. And that makes him active and yang, we could say,
Yeah,
in his way of moving through life, tendencies.
right. It's an interesting, it's a very interesting thing to unpack because, like when you say provide, for example,
Mm,
now these days there are many couples who I meet where the woman is making more money than the man.
yes.
So she would say, well, I'm providing and I'm perfectly capable of providing. And the idea that men provide and women get taken care of is just social conditioning. So I think it's an interesting thing to unpack as we apply a distinction of masculine and feminine practice. It's an
Mhm.
interesting thing to unpack in the 21st century, a quarter of a way through the 21st century.
Mhm.
How, obviously some of this is undeniable biology
Mhm.
and difference of hormones, right? So, and a woman has a reproductive cycle, but also because she's balancing her stress hormones of adrenaline and cortisol more with oxytocin, she's going to be she's going to be more influenced by oxytocin and estrogen. And because a man is balancing his stress with testosterone, that hormone is going to change his behavior. So there's biological difference, hormonal difference. But then at the other end of the spectrum, there are definitely ways that we have, put people in boxes and said, oh, you're a man, you need to be like this, you're a woman, you need to be like that.
In a certain sense, yes. But when we think about, even the older tribes, and we think about now we're in the 20th, in this century, our priorities are different. Okay. So a woman no longer holds the priority of nurturing because many women prefer or choose to have a job or a providing role over nurturing role. So that flips the coin a bit, but that doesn't mean to say that um, emotionally or in a hormonal balance men and women are balanced, although they're playing these different roles, which society has flipped the coin on. Because if we
Mm,
go back to talk about tribes and
mm,
the fact that women do lighter work
mm,
because physically, they need during their cycle not to drain themselves because they need to hold on to their blood and their nourishment to then create. And in fact, there are many women today who can't have children because their pace of life is too fast. It's too demanding.
Mm.
So, we can say that it's cultural that women should be more protected and men should be more providers. But if we look at the reality of the situation of um, of tribes and of the evolution of man and the flow of life for a man and a woman, that's how it needs to be for things to function well. Now,
Yeah.
things have changed in life, the
Mm.
priorities have changed. So, can we say that that is cultural? What is the
Mm.
cultural part and what is the
Yeah.
reality?
Yeah. It's really interesting to see this. It's interesting to look at this topic when we both have a grounding and a love of a grounding in and a love of these Taoist teachings, which go back so far, because of course these teachings have emerged from a certain culture where the role of men and women culturally was defined. So now we're trying to apply these same practices that emerged out of that culture in a culture where those distinctions of role in society don't apply anymore.
Yes. Um, but these also, applying the practices, help
Mm.
us to understand why we are so imbalanced in
Yeah.
this modern day,
Yeah,
because we
exactly.
are
And
not applying to the law of nature. And
yeah,
the law of nature says clearly says that a woman is yin and has cycles that need to be respected, and a man has other cycles that need to be respected. And
yeah,
therefore, we should be weary of how we share our roles or do what we do, because
yeah,
it will affect our emotional and our physical body. And as we can see today, men are very stressed because when they're not able to support themselves or to provide for either for themselves or for their loved ones, because at the end of the day, that's what makes a man happy, to be
yeah,
able to provide. Just like for a woman to be able to nurture, to nourish, it makes a woman happy. So taking away that ability because roles have have changed, is also causing a lot of disharmony in relationships, in hormonal imbalance, in
yeah,
emotional imbalance, in many things.
yeah, yeah. It's I hear. I mean, I agree with what you're saying, and yeah, it's an interesting terrain. We probably something we could pick up at another time, but it's interesting to see how we need to reapply all this within a different social and economic environment than it originated from.
Yes, definitely so. Definitely so. Um, but it can help us also to wake up to who we really are,
Hmm.
because there has been culture on top of culture on top of culture, from the beginning. And there are many ideas of how we should be or how we shouldn't be.
Yeah,
And these practices give us the ability to tap into our um, individual rhythm and
yeah,
respect it.
yeah. Beautiful. Well, let's shift. Let's pivot into talking about feminine practice, the practices that people with breasts and vaginas do that people with penises don't do,
Mhm.
and yeah, where would you like to start? I guess the practice I always hear described first is breast massage. Is that where you'd like to start?
Actually, I'd like to start with with the pelvic floor.
Okay, perfect. Go
Yeah,
for it. Yeah,
yeah, with
yeah.
the pelvic floor health,
Hmm.
because pelvic floor, as we say, the bottom part of the bottom part of the body, the pelvic, that's where we have our uterus and our vagina and our ovaries, and there are so many problems that come from there. Okay? Because of the lack of circulation and the lack of connection that a woman has with that inner part of her body, which has been shamed because of many, culture after culture. So we lack that connection to that part of our body. And that causes even more stagnation. And therefore, I'd like to start there.
Perfect. Okay,
Yeah.
let's do that. Yeah, good.
Okay. Because when we also talk about the rising of energy, we want to raise our vibration. We want to um, refine our energy like steam, no, and let it rise through the body to uh, to expand the heart and make that connection with ourselves and with others. We have all that energy in the base.
Yeah,
So that is somewhere to start. And then
yeah.
from there, I can do my breast massage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
And
so let's pause then down in the pelvic floor. So what are the practices that what are the practices that you teach women
mm,
to tone the pelvic floor?
mm. To tone the pelvic floor, we have to be aware of what it's holding and its weaknesses,
Mm,
and be aware of what we call closing the three yin. So that's just an awareness of the orifices that we have, the anus, the vagina, and the urethra. And also connected to that is the cervix. So being aware that those sphincter muscles react with us, okay? They react all together. And
mm,
so if we are able to connect to them, we've already connected to a part of our body, internal part of our body that we can then begin to work with and bring our awareness there and like give them an energetic seal. Okay, so that's
mm,
first. The first point is the anatomy of the pelvic floor and
mm.
closing the free yin.
I think that's a practice. I'm just thinking about pulling practices. That's a practice that Master Chia calls closing the yin gates. Is that
Yes,
correct? Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes. The three
yeah,
yin gates, gates
yeah,
that otherwise will be open and
yeah.
lose energy.
Right, right.
Yes.
Would you like to briefly describe how to close the three yin gates so people can people even watching this could just try it right now?
Yes. So, first of all, you want to just close your eyes. Um, let's say before that, you would need to have an awareness, even just looking at an image. You can get many images in Google or in anatomic books, an awareness of how the pelvic floor is made and the position of your vagina and so on. That's very important to bring your awareness and to bring your inner eye down to work with your body. So close your eyes and bring your awareness down into your vagina. So everybody knows where their vagina is.
Mm.
And to the mouth of the vagina. And we are used to feeling a subtle contraction, a subtle movement of the mouth of vagina when when we go to the bathroom, okay? And together with that, our urethra can also close and open. The sphincter muscle where we urinate from. So we will bring our awareness and visualize it very, very, very gently closed. Like when you just gently put your lips together and suck very, very gently. Because when we visualize something, we have mirror neurons that activate what's happening, what we see. So we don't actually have to do it with our physical muscles. We visualize closed. The vagina, the urethra, where we go to the bathroom, where we pee, and also the anus. The cervix, the neck of the uterus, is a little bit more, it's deeper inside, and it's a little bit more difficult to, it takes a little bit more time to locate. But you can gently pull upwards from your vagina into your core toward your uterus, and then feel your cervix gently closing. So when you've done that, let's say with a very gentle physical movement, then just relax. When you found those areas, relax the muscles and smile and visualize those three yin gates closed, gently closed, sphincter muscles. And this is how we close our three yin gates. And this is how we can conserve energy and bring our awareness and our energy inside.
Thank
So
you.
it can be a little meditation that you can do anywhere, anytime.
Exactly. Yeah. That's
Just
true of a lot of Taoist practice that when I'm helping people to apply Taoist practice in relationship, like
mm,
a lot of these things you can just do throughout the day. You can do one healing sound when you need it. You can, yeah, yeah.
actually, that's a fundamental thing to
Mm.
bring the practices, uh, to use the practices during your day, because then they will
Yeah,
become you and then
yeah,
they will be part of your life and you will
yeah,
really see the benefits rather
yeah,
than just waiting for that hour or that half an hour to do some practice and then go along your business.
yeah. I find both are good. Like I have an hour in the morning,
Yeah.
75 minutes in the morning to practice. That's good. And then there's more chance that it will get reactivated during the day.
Exactly. Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
because the regular practice is educating your body and
yeah,
training your body.
yeah,
Then you need to, like when you go to school and you learn math, you do
yeah.
the times table, and
Mm.
then when you go home, you can use your math to add, 1 egg plus 2 eggs. What I need for my recipe is that's what you do.
Yeah, yeah, right, right, right. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. Okay, that's a nice analogy. Okay, good. So, where did you want to go from there? You said after talking about the pelvic floor, there was somewhere then you wanted to go.
So I haven't even started with the pelvic floor yet.
Oh,
So
all
now we
right.
want
Yeah.
to go to how do we use the muscles of the pelvic floor, which is a very important thing that I find quite often is misinterpreted because we often use a male analogy or male terms of squeezing and contracting. Okay. But even for a man, when we're working with soft tissue, when we're working with the fascia, we're working with muscles, they need to be elastic because when we're contracting, yes, we're creating a pump, but we're also blocking a flow. So we want a more pumping, soft, and springy movement rather than the contraction, particularly for women, because if we wrongly train our pelvic floor, we will find we this happens to many women, we can find that it's actually tensing up, becoming overtoned, and therefore getting weaker. Okay,
Mm.
so we want to train the elasticity of the pelvic floor. And how do we
And
do that?
yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. Go ahead.
So how do we do that? Um, We want to imagine the pelvic floor as a sponge, which it is, yes. And so we will gently close our vagina and our anus and pull upwards, like stretching on a rubber band, and then release. Okay, so we will gently close without force and pull upwards and release. And we should be aware of a feeling of elasticity, of stretching the tissues, holding and stretching, and then also allow the release, because the release is as important as the toning. Many women are overtoned, tight, they have vaginism, they have a lot of emotion and stuck energy, and they need to relearn to relax. And just as we do when, for example, you have a stiff neck or hard shoulders and you really can't manage to relax, you will clench it, and then you can release. So we want to stretch upwards and then relax down. So those two phases are really important.
Sweet. Yeah. Thank you. Does that feel like you've now said what you want to say about the pelvic floor, or is there more?
More or less,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Great.
you would definitely use the breathing with that, and
Yeah.
then in the pelvic floor you would work with releasing from the orifice, so releasing from the vagina, which holds
Mm.
a lot of energy, which doesn't belong to us, okay, or that we're holding on because there again we are yin and we have the task of holding life, of containing, and that is what we do. And so we also suck a lot of energy from our partner and from uh, relationships around us and hold it. So
Mm.
we would go through different phases with the pelvic floor cleansing with breathing
Mm.
and which would also be toning. And then we would do, for example, um, charging, cleansing the uterus, the ovaries, and then also charging them with ovarian breathing. So that would be
Great.
work on the pelvic floor.
Do you want to talk about ovarian breathing now, or do you want to go into breast massage and come back?
I would talk about ovarian breathing now.
Yeah, okay. Well, perhaps you could explain to somebody coming to this new what is ovarian breathing.
So, ovarian breathing is a very gentle way to breathe with the soft tissue of your lower abdomen so that your ovaries and your uterus are gently lifting and relaxing. So, that's a very gentle pumping and activation of the vagina, the uterus, and the ovaries. We call it ovarian breathing because we're focusing on the hormones that are generated by the gentle activation of the ovaries. But just as much importance we need to give to the uterus when we're breathing, okay, and also the vagina, as I said before. Um, then, when this increases the blood flow in that area, which reduces the stagnation, which can cause premenstrual tension and many problems related to female health. And then we'll also, when there is abundant blood in the pelvic floor and in the uterus and in the ovaries, then this energy can then flow upwards to our breasts. So we would generally start with ovarian breathing, uterus and vagina breathing before we get to breast massage.
Sweet. I'll let you guide us through the steps and the way that do you feel that yeah, good. Well, you keep going in your own way because I think you're giving us a good guided tour for women to hear and to be
Okay,
able to integrate. Yeah.
all right. So as I said before, yes, it's called ovarian breathing, and then we are working on a very gentle and soft lifting and releasing of the ovaries. But fundamental is where the movement is coming from, because we're also nourishing the ovaries and the uterus with the yin energy that's coming from the earth through the vagina, through the pelvic floor. So I would suggest, after having done um, some time of breathing and releasing from the ovaries, the uterus, the vagina, I would then start to breathe nourishing. So inhale and gently lift your pelvic floor, um, bringing the soft and gentle suction all the way up to your uterus and your ovaries as you feel them gently lift and activate. Exhale and just release them down. And as you continue to inhale and exhale, starting always from the pelvic floor, using the lower part of your abdomen to activate and keep your ovaries gently pumping, you continue this exercise of ovarian breathing to activate the hormones. Okay. And then obviously there are many other phases where we can do packing energy to charge um, the ovaries with energy, with chi, which is a little bit more complex, where we will exhale into the ovaries and feel them warmer and expanding. And that way we are increasing the energy that we can then use to circulate in the body, the microcosmic orbit that both male and female do to circulate that sexual energy up the spine and down the front of the body, which is the most um, it's the healthiest way and the safest way to channel and circulate your energy.
Beautiful. Yeah. I'm hearing that for women, a lot of what you're describing, you can just do it anywhere at any time. It doesn't have to be just that now I'm in a practice. Throughout the day, you can have awareness of closing the yin gates, breathing in this breathing in this gentle way and circulating.
Yes, definitely. It brings a lot of vitality, a lot
Mm.
of sexual energy, which is creative, which is vibrant, which you can use in all aspects of your life and your relationship. And it keeps your sexual body alive.
Yeah,
So it's
beautiful.
really, really important. And we can do it anytime.
Beautiful. Yeah. All right. Where would you like to move next?
Let's go to the breast massage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've
Now,
noticed, I
mm,
coach I coach couples
mhm.
and, generally I will ask my partner Catherine to teach the feminine practices to a woman. But I have noticed though, then both partners will report to me on how the practices are affecting them. And I have noticed breast massage to be, I mean, just a few minutes a day, unbelievably effective in balancing hormones and balancing emotions.
Oh, yes. Yes, yes,
Mm.
yes. Yes, yes. We have to think that we're working with the heart center. We are working with the heart center. And when we can, because also we have the the thrusting channel and also the liver meridian and the stomach meridian that comes up through the around the groin, so affecting the ovaries and the uterus and up to the breasts. So we have that when we have that flow of energy that starts to circulate as you do the breast massage, it's bringing it up. So it's not as it and let's say it has a greater effect if you start with the ovarian breathing and the pelvic floor work, because you've already replenished. But if you just do the breast massage, okay, because anyways, we're touching our nipples, even if we're just doing breast massage, that's connected to the uterus and the clitoris. And so we have that flow, and it's very powerful.
Beautiful. So
Mhm.
I'm hearing that for women, you suggest that women practice and learn sealing the yin gates and ovarian breathing before integrating breast massage.
I would say it's a more beneficial way
Yeah.
to do it
Yeah, it's
because
good.
our pelvic floor, anything that we generate is going to circulate. But if the door is always open, and
Yeah.
we don't have
Yeah.
that strength or the replenishing from the lower part, it can be not as effective or not as effective because the connection between your uterus and your heart is very,
Mm.
very important. When we
Yeah.
start to do the breast massage and activate that even more, you have much greater benefits.
Sweet. Yeah, it's great. Could you just briefly like summarize for a woman listening like how to do breast massage? I know it's fairly simple, but it's probably good to get it from a woman,
Yeah.
like simple,
Okay.
straight.
Yeah. Understanding that the inner smile meditation, or we
Mm.
can call it a meditation, but the inner smile is something I call a language. It's a means of communication with ourselves,
Yeah.
of love, gratitude, and acceptance. So every time we come to work with ourselves, just as we would um, come to work or liaise with another person, and we want to do it well, we will smile and activate that love and gratitude and acceptance, which opens up the doors, right? So this is fundamental to working with yourselves. So it would be the first thing I say regarding breast massage.
Mm.
Activate your inner smile.
Yeah.
Love, appreciation, gratitude, non-judgment, because all people, women, we have we have a lot of judgment about how our breasts should be, shouldn't be, how we'd like them to be, we wouldn't like them to be. Here we're not about that. We just want to connect and enjoy. That's all. So activate your inner smile. Charge your hands. Your hands need to be warm so you can rub them. Just think about how you relate to your partner or another person, and you want to show love. Your hands are warm. You'd like your hands to be warm at least, yeah? And your hands are also connected to your heart. Yeah, we have the heart meridian and the small intestine meridian, which are connected, that connect to the Laogong. So be aware of this, yeah? And just warm your hands. Your hands have love and they can transform things.
Hmm.
Everything in this world has been transformed with hands, has been created with hands. Yeah. And when we want to give love, we give love with our hands, to our partner. So give love to yourselves. So there we start with our loving hands and we will start to massage. And we want at least a little, there are different ways that we can massage, yeah? We can massage gently just on the skin to start to activate, yeah? And we can also massage with a little bit of pressure, not too much, to get a more deeper connection to the fascia and the energy flow. And we really want to enjoy. That's what it's about. It's all about enjoying.
Mm.
So
Mm.
the
Hmm.
best way to do it is skin on skin, right?
Mm. Mm.
With a little bit of oil, just close your eyes and enjoy exploring and massaging your breasts. And as you massage, you will find that your heart starts to activate, your heart center starts to activate, and the warmth and the tingling and the expansion goes into your breast and into your body. So if the message in your heart of love and gratitude and joy, self-love is activated, that is what you spread in your body, and that's why it's so powerful.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a great, great explanation. Yeah, and yeah, you were you were you were demonstrating coming out at the bottom, up at the side, in at the top, down in the middle, but you can also go the other way, right?
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Hmm.
I mean, if we're thinking about energy coming up and circulating around the breasts, we often, I mean, it doesn't matter which you do first, okay? We don't, the important thing is that you do it.
Hmm.
We often say that the most effective way is to do first inwards, okay?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
then do outwards. Personally, I like it's important to do both ways because both polarities, we say yin and yang, like if you are um, activating something, you need two directions, yeah, to generate energy. So
Hmm.
that's
Yeah.
important.
Beautiful. Could you just summarize, like, because I've seen this being so pivotal in relationship. I work with relationship, and I see how this is such a pivotal thing. What is, why do we do breast massage? What is the benefit of breast massage?
It's breast massage is also fundamental for men
Mm-hmm.
because you, as I explained, and if you have the ladies have time or men have time to do this massage, you will feel your heart open. You will
Mm-hmm.
feel the vibration of love opening. And so there are different levels of importance for the breast massage. There is on a physical level or also on an energetic level, we are increasing the flow of blood and chi, as I spoke before about this energy that needs to circulate. And we don't want stagnant energy in the body.
Mm-hmm.
And stagnant energy is caused in the body um, very often due to emotional imbalance.
Yeah.
Emotional balance that affects the liver and the spleen. And the liver and the spleen are the organs that that generate, manage, and distribute blood. And blood is for women is something that's very fundamental for their menstrual cycle and the potency of having a uterus that's hospitable for creating life. So these are fundamental for, I mean, the breast massage is fundamental for this and will also generate a good balance of energy, low and high, because women also, especially in the perimenopause and menopausal years, the energy starts to divide because the lower region becomes less active, the uterus and and the ovaries, and the heat rises. So we say yin is low energy, cool and down, and fire, yang, is rising energy and expanding and rising. So when we can activate our breaths and make this and encourage this energy to circulate and rise from the uterus, from the ovaries up to the breasts, then we are creating more harmony. And therefore, we have less hot flushes and
Mm.
less problems with premenstrual tension.
Beautiful. This is all breast massage, the benefit of
This is
breast massage.
breast massage,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
also, this activation of energy in the breast, circulation of energy in the breast, obviously reducing stagnation, which can cause nodules and perhaps lead to more serious problems.
Yeah. Let's focus a little more from breast massage to what happens when a woman stimulates the nipples.
Hmm. Okay. Now, stimulating the nipples is, um, I just like to add, I spoke about breast massage, and then you are doing, you're focusing on um, relationships. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So obviously, obviously, yes, we do our breast massage, but sharing the massage, yes, and
Yeah.
receiving the massage is,
Yeah.
it's a must.
Primo.
Oh
Primo.
my
Yeah.
goodness. Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
So,
so in just to clarify, in the book, there is a chapter about solo practice, things that women can do themselves. But then a lot of those practices get duplicated because I we divide we divide lovemaking into 6 phases.
mhm.
And I'll just briefly mention this so just to clarify the context. So there's invocation, which is where you kind of create the space. Attunement, where you do non-sexual things together, like dancing and you know the turning the wheel and different practices. And then once you get into the bed and you start to be sexual, we
Does it have to be
teach.
in bed?
No, no, but okay, but we teach a phase of a phase where one partner gives and the other partner receives, right? And so we do that each way before there's penetration. So when a woman is receiving, and if it's a heterosexual couple, the man is giving, then we also teach breast massage as a wonderful way to warm everything up in preparation for dual cultivation.
Yes, yes, yes. Wonderful. What I'd
Mm.
like to say is that if you're not comfortable with yourself and
Mm.
you don't know yourself,
Yeah,
then there you have a great barrier releasing and enjoying the touch of your partner.
yeah,
So this is fundamental. It's fundamental to your freedom in sexuality, your freedom
yeah,
in in accessing your own sexuality and sharing your sexuality.
yeah, yeah. Well, let's come back again to the nipples. Okay, so
Yes.
when a woman is practicing alone,
Mhm.
we talked about massaging the whole breast, but there is a specific effect of massaging and stimulating the nipples.
Yes, yes, there's a specific effect. So the you can um, you also again you would prepare your hands and
Mm-hmm.
massage around your nipples. Now, all women are different, so therefore each one has to understand what is the best way to massage, you know?
Mm-hmm.
For some women, it can be too stimulating to massage on the nipples, and some would massage around, or
Mm-hmm.
some would massage on softly, or so each one will find their way. When we activate the nipples, they are connected to the endocrine system. They're directly connected to the uterus. In fact, those who have had uh, children and breastfed will definitely remember the sweating that was going on when the baby latched on, because it was not fun. Your uterus just, it's like someone was just crumbling up with like a piece of rolling up a piece of paper,
Mm-hmm.
because the nipples help the uterus to return to its original state. So this connection
Mm-hmm.
with the nipples is definitely there. And as you massage your nipples, you're activating your uterus and
Mm-hmm.
therefore also the ovaries and the hormones. And it's connected. There's what we call the milk line, which
Yes.
Master Chia refers to as the milk line, um, which are areas uh, that energetic areas that are activated, stimulated by massaging the nipples. So the liver and the spleen and the endocrine, the mm, what's the word in English? Um, Surinali, the adrenal glands,
Yeah.
yes,
Mm.
and the ovaries. And going up, we have the thymus, the thyroid, the salivary glands, and the center of the brain, which has many points, the thalamus, hypothalamus, the pineal gland, and so on, that we call the crystal room,
Mm.
where our all important glands are. When they are activated, they can be activated through this um, loving energetic vibration that comes from the nipples
Hmm.
that again activates even stronger the heart center, and activates a soft arousal vibration that we then bring to these points to the cells come alive,
Yeah.
and they start to vibrate and align and balance and produce
Br-
hormones.
Yeah, brilliant. So I've heard I've heard Master Chia say this, and I've also read it in some of the texts, the ancient texts that describing the nipples are sometimes called the master glands. They're not actually glands, but they're sometimes
Yes.
called like I've heard them called the master glands or the master switch for the glandular system. That it kind of switches on all the glandular system.
Yes, yes,
Mm.
yes. So, I mean, we call them mammary glands. Do we call that
Yeah,
Indian? Yes. So,
yeah,
you know, yes, yes.
yeah.
And that is an
Brilliant.
amazing practice. It's an amazing practice.
Yeah.
It's also really good for activating, for those who are low in libido.
Mm.
Um, it's
Exactly. Yeah.
it's a beautiful practice, a really beautiful
Okay.
practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And perhaps you could just give a little insight of why are you saying specifically nipple massage affects libido or breast massage as well?
Breast massage also, but not like the nipples.
Okay, the nipples are
Not
like
like the
primo.
nipples.
Yeah.
And
And it's
and
really yeah. Go ahead.
and if you, just like you would in love making, if you, the more you play with it and tease them, okay,
Hmm.
the easier it is, like without touching or around. That's why, you can start around and then work
Yeah.
your way to when they start to activate and say, yes, please, me too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then that helps to attune better the vibration of arousal.
Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah. It's great. So and I mean obviously arousal, like low libido, like arousal is very much connected with the release of specific hormones. So it would make sense that stimulating the whole endocrine system would balance. I'm assuming. Would it be better to say that the nipples stimulate the endocrine system or balance the endocrine system?
I would say balance,
Yeah.
because the um the inner knowledge of the body, we call healing love. It's like having your own pharmacy, right?
Hmm.
So your body knows the quantity of
Yeah.
each hormone. It's not like everything goes crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's because of the work that you've also been doing, you're stimulating and you're circulating, which is making it balance out.
Yeah. My observation, correct me if I'm wrong, but I generally ask my partner to teach this to women because it's yeah, a little. I think it's a little more like comfortable that way. But then I do hear the benefit, and it appears that just a couple of minutes a day of nipple stimulation will actually, really set the body on a different track. It doesn't seem like it takes a long time.
It does not take a long
Yeah,
time. No.
yeah,
But then
yeah,
again, not all women are comfortable with nipple
yeah,
massage, and
yeah.
some women are overstimulated by a nipple massage, and therefore they have other practices to do, like
Mm,
working on emotions and so on and releasing, that will
hmm.
allow them to feel more balanced and more comfortable with their body, because it's not automatic for all women.
Yeah. Well, there's actually two ways that a woman's nipple can get stimulated. One is through massage, her own massage or her partner, but equally during lovemaking, the partner can suck on the nipple. Would there be any difference in the stimulation between the fingers and sucking?
Um, Not difference, yes, because you've got a you have a different polarity,
Yeah,
and it's coming from a different font, let's say,
yeah,
the
yeah,
energy.
yeah.
But yeah, the effect at the end is similar.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, let's, if
Sorry,
it's
well, I
okay with,
wanted to say something else.
yeah, you're
It's
doing
a bit,
great.
sorry,
Amazing.
yeah.
An abundant an abundant overflowing harvest of great
I
knowledge.
love
Yeah.
these practices. So,
Yeah.
one of the other things we were talking about balance rather
Yeah.
than just stimulation,
Yeah.
because many women have, at a certain age, have problems with their thyroid. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And they say, well, if I activate, it's going to make it overactive, it's going
Yeah.
to make it worse. But actually, it balances out for the reason
Okay, good.
I said
Yeah.
before.
Yeah, yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, there's the thyroid and the parathyroid, right? So
Yeah.
they have opposite effect, I believe. I'm
Yes.
not super knowledgeable about that. Well, I think it'd be great to move from here to another practice I've noticed just has, I mean, I know men and women can both do it, but it seems to have a particularly powerful effect for women is the nine flowers. Can you talk about that?
Yes. So the nine flower massage is exactly what I explained before, massaging the nipples and activating that arousal vibration, which will then activate starting from your heart center, expanding the vibration. And then we're going up to the thyroid, parathyroid, to the
Well, let me
surrounding.
interrupt you a minute. When you say we're going up, does that mean that there's continues to be massage of the nipples, but the attention goes up, or what do you mean by we're going up? Is the
Um, what would the tendency would be to keep that activation going,
yeah,
okay? But you can shift your hands, and we often do shift our hands
okay,
because we shift our hands and we keep the flow of that vibration
yeah,
directed to the area that we're touching.
I see,
Yeah.
okay, yeah,
And then we move up to the next point, and at any time we we lose that connection or the flow or the expansion of the vibration, we go back to the nipples. Yeah.
okay. So it could be there could be some stimulation of the nipples, activation, for example, of the thyroid. Again, back to stimulation of the nipples, activation of another gland. Then,
Yes, yes. Generally, we would want it moving upwards,
yeah,
keep building and moving upwards. And generally, we don't want to stay too long stimulating the nipples because it can be, I found with some women, it can be too much. A lot of
okay,
women don't need too much time stimulating the
yeah,
nipples.
okay, yeah.
So if need be, we go back.
Yeah, I see.
Okay.
So little stimulation of the nipples, bring the fingers and the intention, the
Yeah.
attention to different places, all the way up to the pineal gland um, in the middle of the head. Yeah.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
otherwise, you can just continue massaging and then
Mm.
you awaken that area either by tapping or
Oh
stroking.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
And then you
Hmm.
can continue massaging, focusing there. And then you
Yeah.
go to the next.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
awaken that, make the connection, and then so on up. But as I
I,
said, each one will know how much stimulation they need because for some women at the start, when they're learning this practice, I've had some women say it makes them nauseous
oh yeah.
because there's just like too much energy.
Mm. Okay. And once again, I'm hearing that this could be a solo practice, but it's equally a practice that the partner could give this as a could give this as a form of lovemaking to stimulate the nipples and then tap and help stimulate all the glands in the upper part of the body. Would that be right?
It can be, yes. And often we do that in love waking anyway, because as you're stimulating the breast, you're also kissing,
Yeah,
the throat or that this is
yeah,
also, it's not just like there are many, as you know, many ways of exchanging. So if you
yeah,
bring your awareness there, you can
yeah.
also bring that into the practice.
Sweet. I know that the sometimes the nine flowers is taught going up, as you said, but sometimes it goes just directly from nipples and going down the milk line. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, what we normally do is we
Mm.
will go up, okay?
Yeah.
And when we've activated up, then we will go down
Okay. So
to the
yeah.
uterus.
So you stimulate, you go up all the way to the crown of the head, and
Hmm.
then what happens after that?
And then you shift your awareness and you can change direction
Yeah.
with the spiraling and start to go down.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you talk about the points that you go down on?
Yeah, so you go down and you activate the you can activate the liver and the spleen. So just
Yeah.
outside the rib cage.
Yeah.
And then you can go down a little further more, just above the navel. So we're going to on both sides
Yeah.
of the rib cage. Let's say the nipple line, a little bit like that. Yeah. So below the rib cage, and we can focus on the liver and the spleen, stomach, and
Yeah.
pancreas, which is one organ.
Yeah.
And then we go down, let's say, a little bit above the navel, as in height to
Okay.
always to the sides, and
Yeah.
we will focus on the adrenaline glands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then we can go down just a little bit to the sides of the navel, and there we can focus more on the spleen.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Go down to the ovaries.
Yeah.
Yeah, which we can find by putting our fingers on the navel, the thumbs on the navel, and the index fingers are pointing down, which is the uterus,
Yeah.
and the pinky finger, the little fingers are more or less where the ovaries would be. So then
Mm-hmm.
we use this little spiraling on the skin very softly to help
Mm-hmm.
activate these areas. And
Mm-hmm.
then you can go to we call the sexual palace or the
Mm-hmm.
baby's palace, which is the
Mm-hmm.
uterus. So just above the pubic bone or behind the pubic bone,
Yeah.
we have a part of the uterus.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to finish off with the clitoris.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Brilliant. So this actually nine, or it seems like you might have had more than nine in there. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, more than nine, but go for it.
Okay. Okay. So we're not sticking with a nine then. Great.
Yeah.
So this is a wonderful practice. I've noticed very powerful for women, stimulating the nipples, stimulating the glands all the way up to the pineal gland, and then going down those lines all the
Mhm.
way down to the clitoris. I
Yes.
guess from here, let's see, where should we move next? What have we not covered for women?
What have we not covered?
We've
We,
Oh, let's talk about the upward orgasmic draw. Yeah,
yes,
because
okay.
that's going to be relevant to lovemaking.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, yes. So the of all of these, we know that all of these solo practices will terminate with circulating the energy in the microcosmic orbit
Yeah.
and storing the energy. Okay.
In the lower
Yes,
dantian.
in the lower
Hmm.
dantian. We can
Hmm.
also store it in the uterus,
Hmm.
we can also
Hmm.
store it there. Sometimes women can have a lot of sexual energy,
Hmm.
especially if you're working with orgasmic energy. So there's a lot, like, he's not going to do it all this. So you can store it in your uterus and you can store it also in your bladder if your bladder is empty. So those are more
Uh-huh.
places you can store energy also.
How would you, so explain how to do that? How would a woman getting close to orgasm or orgasming, how would she go about storing the energy in the uterus or the bladder?
Oh no, that's after. That's
Oh,
after you finish the practice, but
yeah.
there's still an excess. There's a lot of energy.
Ah, I see.
So,
Okay. Yeah.
instead of walking around like a blowtorch, you would
Yeah.
just collect it. You
Okay.
would
So,
just, yeah,
well,
spin it, collect it.
let's talk specifically about, what is the upward orgasmic draw? How do we do it? That that is actually fairly well detailed in several of the ancient texts. There the four things that a woman does for the upward orgasmic draw.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. So, um, for the upward orgasmic draw, I guess we'll get to this later. It's good to train the jade egg, okay?
Yeah.
Because you're
Yeah.
going to need to have a pelvic floor that is strong enough and elastic enough to hold the orgasm
Mm.
and pull it up.
Yeah. Okay.
Because if you
Mm.
if you continue to work on stimulating sexual energy um, and circulating it in the microcosmic orbit, and you don't work on your pelvic floor with the jade egg, you're going to get yourself in trouble because you're going to have such a vibration and a charge of energy. Although you are bringing it up and circulating it, at a certain point, the charge gets, greater and greater. So you're going
Yeah.
to want to train the pelvic floor. So
Got it.
you will hold it, okay,
Yeah.
and pull upwards. We like to use, as I said before, the spinal cord to go upwards because we know the spinal cord is connected to all of the organs. And it's also the circular pathway that is good for exchanging with a partner and also good for distributing with yourself and creating balance, making sure that energy doesn't get stuck.
Mm.
So hold and pull upward on the inhale. And then you can exhale that energy in the areas where you want to that you want to nourish,
Mm-hmm.
which could
Mm-hmm.
be your spine, could be your partner, could be your kidneys or your liver or your spleen.
Right. Are you talking now about the upward orgasmic draw, or are you? I'm
Yes, I
not quite
am.
sure.
Yes, I
Okay.
am.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So you're saying with the upward draw,
Mhm.
the way that it's generally taught in different of Mantak Chia's books is the upward orgasmic draw is directly in one breath pulling sexual energy from an orgasmic state in the genitals all the way up to the brain where it circulates. But
Mhm.
what I'm hearing is you're saying you don't have to pull all the way up to the brain. You can bring the energy up to where you need it. Is that right?
You can. The thing is that because we're on this path. So we're talking about multi-orgasmic also.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So um, when the fact that you're pulling the energy up means that you're cultivating it.
Yeah.
And if you the more you can increase your orgasmic vibration,
Mm-hmm.
um, then the more energy you can bring up once you've pulled it all the way up.
Got it.
So bringing it up to the organs, nourishing the body, and reinforcing the body, and then going back to cultivate more orgasmic energy, and then bringing it up until and you get to that increased state of or orgasm. Then you suck it all the way up to your crown. And
Brilliant.
then, I mean, this at this stage, it can be a direct path also
Yeah.
unless you're going to be circulating it with a partner and sucking it for solo practice for a woman. You will suck it all the way up to the crown and shoot it out. Shoot
Mm-hmm.
it out, let it gather cosmic energy and bring it back in as a shower,
Okay.
circulating. And that is like a constant wheel of,
Yeah.
yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, good. So I'm just going to repeat to you what I've learned from these different texts
Mhm.
and also the way that Master Chi has expressed them. And I'd love to. So this is stuff that I just know theoretically because I'm not a woman, right? So
Mhm.
so I'd love to hear how this translates into real life. So the way that it's called different things. The upward orgasmic draw is also called returning to heaven mountain. I forget. There's a term in the text,
Mhm.
and what they always talk about is number one, clenching the anus, right? Number two, putting your fingers over the ovaries and pushing down, right?
Mhm.
Number three, pressing the tongue up on the palate behind the front teeth. Number four, taking a deep breath and holding the breath through the orgasm. Those are the four things that get repeated in many different texts. So I'd love to hear, how does that pan out in practice as a
Mhm.
woman, you know?
Yes. So as a woman, number one, you do clench. You let's say clench. As I said again, when it's tight, it's not
Yeah.
going to move upwards. Okay.
Okay.
So you do suck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
And also do your feet and your bubbling your bubbling spring, in the soles of your feet and your
Yeah.
perineum. So those
Yeah.
are activated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
And you are it's a little bit I believe it's a little bit different from a man, as you have to learn to clench your butt. The
Yeah.
men clench their butt, and we are sucking up on the inside. That's what we're
Yes.
focusing on. The butt does clench because we have that the feet press down when you're pulling up on the inside, and that's
Hmm.
what we learn when we're using the jade egg.
Yeah.
um, this is one of the practices we learn we're using the jaded. Um, so you're pressing down with your feet, and you're like your butt is sinking, your sacrum is sinking as you pull up on the inside, sucking, and automatically your tongue presses to the roof of your mouth and your eyes roll up to guide the
Oh,
air.
yeah. Okay,
Yes,
great.
the eyes
Hmm.
roll
Yeah.
up. And
Yeah.
it's one breath and it's one suction.
Yeah.
The sipping breath is a
Hmm.
training of the pathway to make sure that the base is connected to the top.
Yeah, got it. So we would practice the sipping breath first before doing for men, the big draw, for women, the upward orgasmic draw.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Great. Okay, brilliant.
Because you can lose contact if you don't
Hmm.
train it. If it's not
Hmm.
trained,
Hmm.
you can lose contact on the way up with the
Exactly.
base.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have to slowly activate and open all the points on the back
Yes, yes,
channel.
yes.
Yeah. So the other thing I want to just get some clarity about is sometimes we talk about pulling up, like, you know,
Mhm,
and there's also circulating, right?
mhm,
So, for example, during lovemaking, generally speaking, the way Master Chia teaches is to start with these 9 shallow, 1 deep thrusting, to
mhm,
do some sets, and then he speaks about just pulling up,
mhm.
yeah, but then at other times circulating. So are there times when we simply pull up and then just that's it? Or are we always going to pull up and then circulate?
It depends on, are you talking about solo practice or couples?
No, I was actually thinking more about lovemaking, but I'm just wondering if there's any downside to doing several upward draws and then just leaving the energy there, you know?
Um, I don't know. With lovemaking, whether it be with a partner or with yourself,
Yeah.
there is this need to circulate, to share, to I mean, you're
Mm.
giving and you're receiving, and
Yeah.
it's building and it's moving.
Yeah.
So just bringing it up and leaving it there, personally, um, unless it's spinning or it's gone out and it's coming back,
Yeah.
I just doesn't seem like it's a practice, but
Yeah.
it's not how it comes in
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a good just footnote for everybody to realize that when we're done with practice, we need to bring the energy down to the lower dantian, because it's not a good idea to walk around with a ton of energy pulled up into your crown. It's gonna
no, no, no,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
no, no.
Well, I think we want to finish up today talking about jade egg, right? I know it's a big part of feminine practice.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. It is.
Mm.
Yeah. And so jade egg, it has many benefits, and it's not one of the first practices that women will do. And it's also not just as it's not just uh, put the egg in and walk around with it or sleep with it. These are practices that have a purpose.
Mm.
So we have, oh, I have one here. Okay, so we have an egg, which we use on this shape of the egg is so that we can do our practices and that we can move it around um, to train the muscles to pull upwards, to work upwards. Okay, and we use the string on it so that we, number one, we know where it is and we're not afraid of it being stuck or not having control, because it's one of the biggest um, concerns of women who start
Yeah.
to learn the jade egg. And
That,
also,
that it might get stuck in there.
yeah, it won't get stuck, but they are concerned that they won't be able to get it out because they don't have hold on it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm.
And then the string also is so that we can create a counter force
Mm.
as we learn to hold, to grip and pull upwards. We use a counterforce pulling down, which strengthens the muscle and increases the elasticity of the soft tissue. Um, while we're doing this, we are actually cleansing all of the tissues in the vagina, in the uterus and the ovaries and the pelvic floor, because we spoke about um, how women are containers and will hold a lot of energy that perhaps becomes also stagnant or doesn't flow and doesn't belong to them. And also with the menstrual cycle, not always there is enough cleansing of the uterus after the cycle.
Hmm.
And also when women are in their less fertile years or their non-fertile years, we don't have that activity in the uterus. And that's one of the reasons why there can be cysts and all sorts of things, polypi and so on in the uterus, because there's no circulation and the
Yeah.
energy is stuck. So
Mm.
as we do this movement with the jade egg and also pulling, we are pulling up the pelvic floor, the uterus, the vagina, the
Mm.
ovaries. So we're
Hmm.
also reducing health-wise the risk of stagnation and
Hmm.
the risk of prolapse, which is
Hmm.
often very common for women.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, what else do we have? We are also activating, it's another level of doing ovarian breathing because we're pumping. Yeah. And we're reinforcing, as I said before, the ability to circulate the sexual energy with the upward draw.
Brilliant. Yeah. I think that's a really good summary of why we do it. I've noticed overall, it seems like, first of all, you said it's not a practice to begin with. I would imagine, like breast massage, I would imagine most people could just hear what you've said today and do it. I'm
Yes.
kind of imagining with breast massage, you might need guidance. You might need to work with a Taoist teacher to
For
guide you through it.
talking about what? The
Jade egg, the
jade
jade
egg.
egg.
Yes,
Yeah, sorry, my
definitely
bad. Yeah,
so. Definitely
yeah,
so.
yeah. So, but I also have noticed that, you know, when women learn breast massage, it all goes well. When women learn even like, but when it comes to the ovarian egg, the jade egg, it seems like it seems like women can experience some resistance around that practice. Can you talk a bit about that?
Yes, yes. And this is one of the reasons why it's not one of the first practices. And the reason why we can have resistance is because this is a holding place. It's an
Yeah.
intimate place. It's a sacred place. And
Mm.
it's also an invisible place that we don't have, we've never given ourselves or culturally not had access to. It's a place that stores a lot of emotions, and therefore we don't the only time in our lives when it's accessed is when we are forced to sit on a gynecologist bed and allow them to examine us.
Hmm.
So we don't have a good relationship there. Um, so it's very difficult for women. Some women don't have control in that area or understanding of that area of the muscles, and it can be even sex itself. Penetration can be painful for many women. They can be tight, and therefore putting something abstract into the vagina can be culturally seen as something not good. Okay.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
also something very strange, inserting something into your vagina that you can't see in a place
Hmm.
that you're not familiar with, that you have no connection to. So it's not an easy one.
Yeah. Okay. I'm imagining, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm imagining the solution to all that resistance is that when a woman gets ready to do that practice, to engage with an experienced Universal Healing Tao teacher. Yeah.
Yes, yes, very,
Mm.
very important. And it's
Mm.
also very important that the preparation to using the egg is respected. Because as
Hmm.
I said, the vagina is a sacred place.
Yeah.
It's like our body is our temple. So um, we need, just like in penetration with a partner, we need permission to use the jade egg. The body needs to be ready, and therefore breast massage, nipple massage, vagina, the groin and the legs and the vagina, the labia massage. Preparation is important.
Yeah.
You know? Very
Brilliant.
important that your vagina says, yes, I want it. Yes, I'm ready.
Yeah, beautiful. Hey, you've given a lot of great time today. I'm wondering, is there anything about feminine practice specifically that we didn't cover that you'd like to include?
I can think about the health
Hmm.
of females and the health
Hmm.
of the pelvic floor,
Hmm.
and the urinary problems that women have.
Hmm.
And we also have a practice that we exhale and we press our fingers when we're seated, just above the pubic bone,
Yeah.
um, to and then as we exhale, we pull upwards and we're pulling the bladder up. Yeah,
Okay.
we're pulling the bladder and the uterus up.
Hmm.
That's very useful because we have this all the organs sitting there and the open space of the vagina and the uterus of energy going down. And when we urinate, we have the bladder, pressing down. So we do this health-wise to pull up the bladder and the uterus after urinating.
Yeah.
I would also
Does
say,
that practice have a name? What you just said?
um, it says a urinating. I don't remember, to be honest.
Okay, no
No,
problem. Yeah.
sorry, I don't
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah, it doesn't, that's all right.
Yeah.
Was
Um,
there anything else that we missed, that we glossed over, that you feel we should have given attention to in specifically practices that women do?
um, Not that come to mind at the moment.
Hmm.
I would like to add that with the jade egg, uh, we also use weights, as
Yeah.
men do solo practices that they use um, weights on the penis. We
Hmm.
use weights on the egg attached to the string that creates more traction and allows us to increase the ability of the upward pull because our pelvic floor is connected to our organs and uh, activating the tendons in our pelvic floor and increasing the ability will help the health and also the circulation of chi energy rising and circulating. So with the egg, we also use weights where we hang a little bag on the cord and put some either a bottle with gradually increasing the quantity of water or objects in there.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Another thing I use with the jade egg, which I find very, very beneficial, is that we use three sizes of jade eggs. We have the
Mm-hmm.
big size, a medium size, and a mini one. Okay. So for women who have difficulty using oops, for women who have difficulty using the jade egg,
Mm.
they can start with a small one to get used to feeling comfortable with having the egg inside or inserted, just the fact of inserting an egg. Um, the smaller egg will also be able to unblock and release tissues and tension and emotions and toxins that are stuck in the smaller areas of the vagina. And then we have the medium-sized egg, which is a good size to start with for most people. Um, but if you're a bigger build of woman, then, with a wider hips and a bigger, wider vagina, then you could also start with a bigger egg. So, but at the end of the day, you would want to practice with all three sizes
Mm-hmm.
because they activate different muscles and tendons, and that they can cleanse and tone in different ways. So this is the choice of of eggs, which people say. And then
Mm.
there are many qualities of eggs, which of course we
Mm.
know the nephrite jade is the most beneficial to
Nephrite.
yeah, nephrite jade, yes. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, this has been amazing. You've been really, really generous. Tell us a little bit how people can work with you. How do they contact you? What sort of services do you offer, in teaching people?
Mm. Just say it's been a pleasure helping you with your book and all of these conversations that we've been having. I've
Yeah.
really been enjoyable, and I love to speak about and to teach and to share the healing love practices. So
Hmm.
thank you for first and
Yeah.
foremost.
Mm.
Myself, I teach one-on-ones and also small retreats and bigger retreats.
Yeah.
I teach in Italy in person, but also online. But I'm tend more to in person when it comes to groups.
Hmm.
I also live half the year in Thailand, so I'm at Dao Garden during the winter
Yeah.
there for
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
5, 6 months,
Hmm.
where I will run workshops and also support Master Chia. Also, in particular, the female alchemy courses. I
Beautiful.
also
Yeah.
have online courses, self-paced courses for women, and not only female alchemy, but also all of the foundation practices. And another one of my favorites is our Dao Yin and Tai Chi and
Yeah.
Iron Shirt. So
Yeah.
a wide spectrum.
I'd love to maybe get back together with you at some point and just do a whole podcast about Dao Yin. And also, you teach the six healing sounds in such a good way. I learned those in 1988, but it was really with you on those evenings in Thailand that that it really opened up for me. You teach the healing sounds in a really good way. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Maybe we can revisit that. Well,
Yeah.
thanks so much for your time today. It's been awesome. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. It's been a pleasure, a real pleasure. Thank you. Blessings.
Thank
And I'm
you.
looking forward to reading your book.
Yeah.
Very
I'm looking forward to
much.
finishing writing it.
Yeah, 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 yeah.